I'm not gonna lie, this key didn't die because the dungeon was impossible. It died because of one pull. One pull at the worst possible time, with no lust, no real cooldowns ready. And once it happened, the whole run just kind of fell apart from there. And that's honestly one of the most frustrating things about Mythic Plus. Sometimes a key doesn't die because the group is terrible. Sometimes it doesn't even die because people are playing that badly overall. Sometimes it dies because of one decision. And this plus 13 felt exactly like that. Going into the run, it didn't even feel that bad at first. It wasn't one of those keys where from the first pull you already know it's doomed. It actually felt playable. Not free, not super clean, but playable. The kind of run where you think, okay, if people stay focused and we don't do anything stupid, this should be fine. And then that pull happened. And the second it happened, I had that feeling. You know, that feeling in a key where your brain instantly goes, yeah, this is bad. Not maybe bad. Not slightly risky. Just bad. Because the problem wasn't only that it was a big pull. The problem was the timing. No lust. No cooldowns. No real setup for it. Just one overpull that immediately made the whole run feel unstable. And that's the part that gets me with Mythic Plus sometimes. It's not always the size of the pull by itself. It's whether the pull actually matches the situation the group is in. Because people love talking about big pulls like they're always automatically better. Like bigger equals faster. Like more mobs always means more value. But that's not really how it works if the group isn't actually ready for it. If lust is down, if people already use stuff, if defenses are awkward, if interrupts aren't lined up, if the group is already a little shaky, then a big pull can stop being efficient really fast. It just becomes chaos. And that's exactly what this felt like. It didn't feel like a calculated risk. It felt like the kind of pull where if everything goes perfectly, maybe it looks smart, but if anything goes wrong, the whole key pays for it. And in pugs, something usually goes wrong. That's the other part people ignore. In a coordinated group, maybe that pull works. Maybe everybody knows what's happening. Maybe cooldowns are planned. Maybe stops are assigned. Maybe people are ready. But in a pug, with random timing, random trust, random awareness, that kind of pull is way more dangerous than people want to admit. And the worst part is, once it starts going bad, it usually goes bad fast. Because now you're not just fighting the pack. Now you're fighting panic. Now people are scrambling. Now somebody dies. Now interrupts get weird. Now defenses get overlapped or missed completely. Now damage starts falling off because people are in survival mode. And once that starts, the key doesn't just lose a little momentum. It loses stability. And that's what I felt in this run. The moment that overpull happened with no lust and no cooldowns, it felt like the group stopped playing key and started reacting to disaster. And those are two very different things. When a run is stable, people are playing a dungeon. When a run gets chaotic, people are just trying not to drown. That's a huge difference. And honestly, I think that's why this kind of mistake is so brutal in higher keys. Because a bad pull doesn't just cost health bars. It changes the mental state of the group. It changes how people move. It changes how people trust the tank. It changes how calm the healer is. It changes whether DPS are thinking clearly or just panic blasting and hoping it works. And once that trust breaks, the rest of the run starts feeling way worse than it should. That's what happened here. After that pull, it didn't feel like we were in control anymore. It felt like we were behind the run. Like the key was already dragging us instead of us actually playing it clean. And that's why I think people underestimate how much one tank decision can decide the whole direction of a run. Because yeah, tanks have pressure. They have to set pace. They have to choose route. They have to decide when to go big and when to chill. But that also means one bad judgment call from the tank can hit the whole group instantly. And I don't even want to make this video as just tank bad GG. That's not really the point. The point is more that in Mythic Plus, especially in pugs, a pull only works if it matches the actual condition of the group, not the fantasy of the group, the actual condition. Do we have lust? Do we have cooldowns? Do people look stable? Is the healer comfortable? Can the group actually control this? Is this the right moment? That stuff matters So much more than ego. And I think sometimes keys get bricked because people pull for the run they wish they had, instead of the run they actually have. That's a huge difference, because the run you wish you had is clean, coordinated, everybody locked in, perfect stops, good damage, smooth execution. The run you actually have, maybe people are decent, but it's still a pug. Maybe cooldowns are weird. Maybe someone's already off rhythm. Maybe the last pull was messy. Maybe it's just not the right time. And if you ignore that and force the big pull anyway, sometimes you're basically flipping the whole key on one gamble. That's what this felt like. And I think what makes it more frustrating is that these are the kinds of mistakes that feel avoidable. If a key dies because a dungeon is brutally hard, fine. If a boss mechanic just destroys a run because people can't handle it, okay, that sucks, but at least it feels like the game won. But when a key dies because somebody decides to overpull with no lust and no cooldowns and a random plus 13 pug, that's the kind of thing that sticks with you, because it feels unnecessary. Like, we didn't need to make the run harder than it already was. The dungeon was already enough. And I think that's why pugging can feel so rough. A lot of keys don't die because the players are incapable. They die because somebody forces the wrong tempo at the wrong moment. That's a really important difference. Sometimes the best Mythic Plus play isn't the aggressive play. Sometimes the best play is just understanding the moment, understanding when the group can handle more, understanding when the group needs one cleaner pull to stabilize, understanding that timing a key is not always about playing faster. Sometimes it's about not making one huge mistake that wastes way more time than you were trying to save. And that's what I keep coming back to with this run. That one pull probably felt fast in the tank's head, but in reality, it cost way more than it ever could have saved. That's the brutal part. And honestly, I think this is one of the biggest things I'm learning more and more in Mythic Plus. A lot of keys don't get bricked by low damage. They don't get bricked by one small mistake. They get bricked by bad decisions under pressure, especially forced decisions. And once the run starts slipping after that, everything gets harder. Now people trust each other less. Now the healer is stressed. Now every next mistake feels bigger. Now the timer feels worse. Now the group is mentally different. That's why one pull can kill a whole run. Not because it's mathematically impossible to recover every time, but because in real Pug Mythic Plus, once stability is gone, the whole key changes. And yeah, maybe sometimes you still recover. Sometimes the group locks back in. Sometimes people calm down and save it. But a lot of the time, especially in Pugs, once the run starts cracking, it keeps cracking. And that's what made this plus 13 so frustrating. Because it didn't feel like we got outplayed by the dungeon. It felt like we handed the key over for free with one bad overpull. So I guess the real thing I took from this run is pretty simple. Big pulls are not automatically good pulls. A pull is only good if the group is actually ready for it. And in Pugs, that matters even more. No lust, no cooldowns, no real control, bad timing. That's how a key gets bricked. Not always slowly. Sometimes instantly. And honestly, that's probably one of the hardest parts of Mythic Plus to deal with. Not just your own mistakes, not just mechanics, but watching a run die because one decision forces the whole group into chaos. If you've played enough Pugs, you know exactly what I mean. You see the pull, and before it's even fully going wrong, you already know, yeah, this key might be over. So yeah, let me know if you've had a run like this recently. One pull, one overcommit, one moment where the whole key just flipped, because I swear, some Mythic Plus runs don't die because the dungeon was too hard. They die because somebody forced the wrong pull at exactly the wrong time.